Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Gig City Music Group podcast. My name is Matt Kelly. I'm the founder of Gig City Music Group, and we exist to help you as a working musician find fulfillment in your craft, some momentum in what you do, and a network of people who are like-minded and wanting to grow the scene and help each other to be lifted up in what you're doing. All right, so if you're interested in learning more, reach out to us, find a link, like this video, subscribe to what we're doing. We want to help working musicians like you. And hey, if you are somebody who does event planning or hires musicians for different things, we would love to introduce you to some of our amazing artists that we have on our roster, one of whom I'm about to talk to right now. So this morning, as we're recording, we've got Josh Gilbert on our show. He is a truly prolific musician here in Chattanooga, a staple of the scene, has been a part of what makes Chattanooga music great for a long time. So without any further ado, welcome, Josh. So glad you're here, man.
Hi, thank you for having me. You're amazing too.
Well, yourself. I appreciate it. I paid him to say that.
That was a very highfalutin choice of vocabulary for my description.
Yeah, well, I think prolific really is accurate. I mean, anytime I see you perform, especially live, you're doing so many things well at the same time. Like, you're engaging with the crowd, you are doing all the looping stuff. So like, even when you're by yourself, you've got basically a full band with you and all the different parts. And the way that you arrange stuff is exciting too. And it's not like gaudy. Right? Like, it's not something that like, you're never like over the top, but you're still like really interesting and like really, really talented. I love the melodies you craft and all the layers you put on. So seriously, I'm not just like saying that because it's a podcast and it's like fun to say all those things. Like, I love watching you perform live. And before I ask you a question, by the way, Josh is performing live at White Duck Taco on November 13th. So go see him playing live at White Duck Taco.
I hope to get some tacos out of that gig.
Yes, he will get some tacos out of that gig. You should get some tacos out of that as well. But anyway, Josh, glad you're here, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how long have you been a full-time working musician? What are some of the highlights of your career as a musician? What are a couple of the things that you got going on right now?
I have a long journey. I have a long story, a good bit of it, but we could be here all day. Yeah. To be honest, I'm a little bit in the older crowd by this time. But yeah, I grew up in Chattanooga when there was a kind of a small budding music scene as far as venues are concerned. And so I really cut my teeth, as they used to say. I don't even know if people use that expression anymore. Anyways, doing live events, church youth group things. There were venues, coffee shop spaces that I could perform as a younger person, and a non-alcohol venue person. All ages type spaces. Yeah. So yeah, growing up here, I mean, really, I've pursued music since 2005, 2006 full time. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole chapter when I was in a band with my brothers. We toured across the United States. We camped out in Walmart parking lots. We didn't even have an address for probably 3 years. Wow. And we did 250 shows. We played with metal bands and underground weird spaces and festivals and just anything you can imagine. Yeah. We had a development team that came out from LA to see us for a show. Mm-hmm. We were doing a CD release party. This is back when we had CDs. Yeah. And it just kind of spurred on some momentum, and we got to working with them, and we would travel out to LA and tour out to LA every year to work with them. They're trying to get us on this was the indie emo alternative rock scene. Right. There were, pretty much everyone was in a band back then, and then just the economy kind of crashed, and it was kind of hard to support labels and bands and that type of effort. Yeah. And it was a great learning experience. We enjoyed that season of life, and we got to meet a lot of people and see a lot of places across the U.S. I mean, Tennessee is way more beautiful than the brown, ugly smog LA and all that. Sure. In my opinion, I mean, there's beauty all over the U.S. But anyways, so that was a cool eye-opening experience and great learning experience. And we got to open. If you ever heard of bands like Mute Math, back in the day, we got to open for Mute Math a couple times, stuff like that. And then a tornado destroyed our van in 2011, and we had to kind of discontinue that effort. I mean, I have pictures I found a picture the other day of the van and the tree, which smashed it in half and crushed it into smithereens. Yeah. My brother's bass amp his Ampeg rig was in the van. Oh, man. But it just missed it. And so it was like, we took it from a sign, we took it as a sign from God, like, oh man, I think that season is kind of under close. Anyways, sure, yeah. And so 2012, I kind of kickstarted my own project and decided, rather than working in insurance or something else, or a janitor, I was a janitor for a while, those types of things. I was like, I'm going to try branching out on my own, pick up the acoustic guitar. Yeah. And that's when I really sort of dove into acoustic at that point, to be honest with you. I didn't really grow up with a lot of that folky stuff. And I'm just going to try to play, help out at churches, youth groups, events, weddings, restaurants, coffee shops, anything that would be open to having a live acoustic musician. Right. Yeah. And I put together a band, on occasion when it was, when it made sense for the venue. And so since pretty much then, I've been sort of doing my own solo project, if you will. Right. Yeah. In various forms.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
You had a venue that you were running for a while, right?
We were involved in you're talking about the church venue, the Mosaic Fathom days. Yeah. If you know the name Mosaic or Fathom, that's a whole podcast in of itself. Sure. But anyways, we were genuinely and authentically involved in the church behind the scenes, and we cared about musicians, cared about bands, especially bands that were not getting a lot of personal, attention, or they felt seen and heard by us. You know what I'm saying? Right. Even if there wasn't a big crowd there. So I and my wife met through trying to help run Fathom, the venue. I was, I toured as well, so I wasn't there like every night of the weekends, but by Sunday night I was there. I did a lot of Saturday nights. That's how I learned how to run sound, was from metal bands. Yeah. And things like that. Well,
I don't know if you remember this.
All sorts of bands.
But I was in a band in high school. Like my first music project, we thought we were going to be like the best ever. It was like a little folk rock band, but we played at Fathom twice.
What was your name?
Our American Cousin.
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Huh. Do you know Conrad Ratchford?
That
big,
name
tall
sounds
guy?
kind of familiar.
He was the head dude in that. Him and Nathan Swan.
You said high school?
Yeah, high school. It was like 2012, 2011.
Oh, okay. Well, about that time, that whole venue and the church kind of moved on and shut down. Yeah, it shut down just a couple weeks after we played our second show there, I think. So, yeah. There was some complications and, stuff that's, venues and nonprofits that are primarily volunteer driven. That stuff just runs its course. Yeah. And you can only do things so long without financial backing, and if stuff doesn't make money, that becomes hard to maintain a venue. Yeah, for sure. So I think from that point on, in the Chattanooga scene, at least for me, there were places that were, more like coffee shops, a few other spots that kind of helped to fuel the local music scene back in that day. Like Camp House, places like that. Yeah, dude. So,
yeah, an age gone by. Man. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then I want to ask you some questions about some of the stuff that you've recorded, some of your projects that you've been a part of, and then what you got going on today. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Problems we're facing, we've been stuck in a rut, and we got bills to pay. Ain't got no money, but we got love.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. I wanted to let you know that we have an online Facebook community that is very active. full of over 200 local musicians who are building each other up, who are engaging with each other, working on collaborating. And then we also have some educational things that are happening in that community. For example, we just did our first $7 skills workshop. We actually posted that on this or on our YouTube channel for free. So it's actually a $0 skill workshop because we wanted you to be able to see what kind of thing you can get by being a part of this Facebook community. So subscribe to that, go to our Facebook page, join that group if you're a local musician or somebody who supports the arts here in Chattanooga. We want you to be a part of that. Also, it really helps us out if you like this video, if you subscribe to our channel. So do that. Press every button available for you except for this one, and it will help us out a ton. And if you really dislike it, hit that one, but don't just hit that. Tell us why so that we can make this better.
Yeah, leave a comment. That
exactly.
helps.
Yes, leave a comment. That's awesome. And if you're mean, I'll just ignore it. All right. So anyway, we're going to jump back in and learn more about Josh and maybe get some advice, hopefully, from a working musician who's been doing this for so long. You played what, like over 1,000 shows in the last 10 years or so, right?
Yeah, and that's multiple decades. So times that by 4 or 5, I'd say. If you include church as a performance, I really don't include that if I'm going to make a list or something.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a lot. I keep trying to get better and better each time, though. It's always it's always a work in progress. It's always a challenge. It's always a there's a new environment always, and there's those types of things. And ultimately, I give God the credit and kind of pray into that and say, "Hey, God, use me to encourage people tonight, even if it's even if it's not a Christian or worship service or whatever."
Right. Yeah.
Either way, I'm going to be the same person on the stage, off the stage. I'm going to be the same person whether I'm doing Christian music, whether I'm doing, classic rock covers, or I'm at a wedding. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to try to be that same person. Yeah. Hopefully, be a light in a maybe possibly dark space, possibly not, but maybe something I can do, say, or how I carry myself might lead people to the light in some way.
Right. Yeah. And like in the couple of years that I've really gotten to know you deeper, like you've proven that to me, like you really are the same person every single place you're at. Like I don't feel like I'm getting like some weird persona of Josh, So you've had you've done a lot of recording as well. You even had some like radio time, right, with one of your songs.
Yeah. So like we kind of started out in that first chapter. Second chapter's 2012 and on, and 2014, I officially signed on to a small Christian music indie label based out of Athens, Tennessee.
Okay.
And they had 2 other acts. One was like a Christian country act, and then they had their main band called Calling Glory. I don't know if anyone would remember that name. Calling Glory. They ended up starting a label. Mostly that was to push their own projects.
Sure.
Officially through the official channels. And this was back in a time where you had both digital and streaming, but tertiary, what we'd call like land-based radio broadcast was still very much in full swing. And I'd say for Christian music, that has even now still been a large platform and been maintained, albeit it's very costly. Yeah. So they took a chance on me, and it was an amazing experience. I mean, so you talk about highlights. One of my highlights back in the day, that would be, kind of going out to LA and all that, and then opening for like Mute Math. There were some cool experiences back with the alt rock band days. Yeah, and once I kind of shifted into, hey, I'm going to carry myself in the worship space and the CCM space and write all types of songs, not just one genre, Right, yeah. Ended up getting connected with the label and writing with them. And they produced 4 singles and released all 4 of them to radio. 2 of those got on Billboard charts.
Let's go.
And one of them got to number 12 on the adult contemporary chart, which is awesome. You could, that year it was like, whoa, you could see my name, you see Crowder, you see a few others, and then my name, and I was like, what?
That's awesome. What song was that?
It was a song called Separate Us, which is based out of Romans 8, 38, kind of later in that chapter. There's nothing that can separate us from God's love type message.
Right.
Yeah, so it was an awesome learning experience. That was definitely a highlight of my career. Right. And God God breathed on some songs and breathed on that season. I was with the label and toured and went to radio stations and got 4 radio releases.
That's awesome.
And it was a very expensive endeavor on the part of the label, especially an indie label. It's very costly. I don't know. We can get into that another time, but it's complicated. But
sure, yeah.
It was just amazing to be to be in that world and be a voice in a way that God wanted me to be in that time and season.
Yeah.
But that a lot of things in music are difficult to sustain, especially some people can do that. Some people are gifted in their certain niche, and that's they have that, and the stars align, the lightning strikes. And maybe they're good at business or whatever, or people invest, and they get to carry themselves for a long time. Some of us have to adapt. Some things don't work after a season. Some things we have to change. We have to try new things. We have to knock on different doors, and so that's kind of part of my journey of that. And music industry is very costly. So I was with the label until about 2017. We did our last radio tour at the beginning of that year, and it was fantastic. Definitely a highlight of my career. And to do that, if you ever get a chance to go into a radio station, if there is, WTC still has a thing,
right.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome experience, I think, and you should pursue those opportunities if you can find them, even if it's a small local station type thing. But
that's cool. So tell me, you must have tried a lot of things. You've pivoted a lot. You've probably made a good amount of mistakes as you've put yourself out there and that kind of thing. What are some things that all your years on the road have taught you that maybe somebody who's at the same place you were in 2005 would want to know?
Yeah. I'd say, so my life's been live performance. I'm in a sense selling my live performance. I've not worked as hard as I could in the recording space, as you might think, but a lot of that's based upon live performance,
Right.
And these days, we're not getting a bunch of Spotify streams. We're not getting a bunch of royalties to make a living off of for one project or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You have to really collab and really be out there, really networking that space. And that's very time consuming.
Yes.
And you have to put your, fingers in a lot of different spaces. And a lot of different.
Very time consuming and for very low chance of actual payout. That makes it worth it.
You're taking a risk with that. So I did not, in my career, invest as much into that space. Other than being on the label and all that. That was an awesome breath of fresh air for me. But so in the writing space, that's a whole other animal. My lane has been mostly live performance. Taking, just diversifying myself. That's the key word I would always use. Diversify myself into a variety of spaces and come up with a set list that you can stomach. Back in the day, it was like we looked, all the bands in the area looked down upon, oh, you're a cover band. Ugh. We snootily, that was the lowest of the low.
Right.
But I had to get to a point where okay, well, if I want to make a living doing music or something like that, I'm going to have to diversify what my set list is and make it my own and, pick some material that's familiar enough, but not I'm not going to be 100% sell out.
Sure.
I'm not just going to do Sweet Home Alabama every set. You know what I mean? I'm going to do stuff that I like, but that different audiences can connect to.
Right.
So I have set list A, I have set list B, I have set list C, I have wedding set lists. I have, you know what I mean? I have a whole iPad of set lists.
Okay.
It's not just one repertoire. So that's kind of where I had to work. When the tornado came and when all those things shifted and what am I going to, how am I going to approach those different spaces?
Right. Yeah.
Set list A is going to be the such and such restaurant typical set list, and I'm going to have these covers I'll roll through, do some bluesy stuff. I'll throw in a couple of my originals or whatever if I want. Set list B is going to be, this is the coffee shop set. They might not want high of energy. They might want it to be a little more chill. Well, I'm going to do a little more instrumentals. I'm going to have set list B. I'm going to Set list C is like, well, I'm a cocktail party at the wedding, so I'm probably not gonna play like Born on the Bayou or stuff.
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
I might do CCR stuff. I might, but like, you know, I'm gonna pick some more, you know, lovey-dovey stuff. I'm gonna do do some songs I like. You know, me and my wife love John Legend. All
Yeah.
of Me. You know, so that's one of my staples. I love that song.
Yeah.
And that's special to me and my wife. I'm not, you know, if I'm at some place where they've got a bar and a bunch of guys who are, you know, motorcycle dudes and they've got beards and stuff, I'm not gonna play All of Me like in front of them. You know what I mean? Like, so anyways, so yeah, it's just diversifying. I think at the core, set list your material.
Yeah.
You know, how can I make things my own, and with in my own style, what's gonna work for me?
Yeah.
You know. Someone requested Whitney Houston one time. It was like so out of the blue, and I was like, "Sorry, I can't do it." You know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, just you're on a kind of a road of discovery in that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's different for each person. I would say diversify that. You know. I don't
Sounds
know
like
if that
there's
answered any question or anything.
Yeah, I think that's good. It sounds like there's like a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. You know, of being a working musician, right?
And there's trying stuff out.
Yeah.
So I'm a very melody music person. I don't remember my lyrics very well, and that's a running gag with me. But even my own songs, I struggle. You know, so I have a big giant pool of lyrics and songs and sets, but musically, I'm not having to work as hard. Once I hear something on the radio, that's it. I can pick out the guitar parts. I even have like this pitch memory. It's kind of freaky, like sing to me an A, or I don't know if I can do that right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but I can hear the guitars in my head because of playing them so much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that keeps that side of it a little bit easier for me. But yeah, just working on behind the scenes, like what, you know, and a lot of it, what I was going to say is experiment. A lot of times I experiment in the moment, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, hey,
yeah.
there's a new song. Let me try it out. And if it's low risk, like
Sure.
there's only 2 people at a table over there. Well,
Right,
okay, I'm going to
yeah.
try that. And so that kind of narrows down a lot of what I do, because it's
Yeah.
a lot of it is trial and error
Yes.
as well. So,
Man. So is it possible? Some people would say that it's not possible to make a living as a working musician. You are an example of that not being true.
well,
But why is that?
Well, I would just say diversification. So
Yeah.
if your definition of working musician is this and only this, and I got to sell tickets at what's the room up above the Soldiers and Sailors Auditorium or Barrel House Ballroom?
Yeah. Yeah.
If that is what working musician is, I've got to sell tickets. I need 100 tickets at this venue, and then my tour looks like those venues. Back in the day, that's what we looked at as being a musician career-wise. We looked at that. That is real hard or not possible. I mean, if you got yourself a bill of 4 or 5 different bands in the region, and you guys put together a tour effort, and you all promote, and you're working together, that could be a way of doing that, honestly.
Yeah, because you're combining networks
Yeah.
and that kind of thing.
But
right?
that is hard, and you're not getting much money from the show. You have to split
Yeah.
it all up. You're running production, you're paying, you're renting the venues, you know.
Yeah, you're going to get pennies.
Point of all this is, if working musician is trying to make a living with my musical skill, then that can be defined in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Part of that for me is working with churches. I'm a working musician there. I've been part-time or like contracted staff to help out for church or organizations events.
Yeah.
Where I'm either it's me by myself, or I'm putting together a band for the event.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking for businesses that want live music, and I'm seeking those out, and I'm soliciting myself, you know, in those spaces. And point is, being a working musician is gonna have to be diverse looking, especially now.
Oh yeah.
You know, if that's live streaming on your Insta or whatever, TikTok, you know, does TikTok do that? I don't even have a TikTok. That shows you.
Just think about how much you could blow up if we're going to sign them up for a TikTok
It's
on
bad.
the show right now.
I need a class. Anyways, So even point is, even if it's a virtual space, you know, or it's the songwriting, you know, it's all the things.
Right. Yeah.
And for me, it's looked different pretty much year to year, which is a challenge, and that would probably stress people out to the maximum.
Yeah.
It just depends on your
I think
life
also,
situation.
though, like-
Depends on your living situation. Once I have a family now, the stakes are way higher, and I got to take everything I can get, and I have to settle on a lot of things that I wouldn't. The artistic, creative person to me wouldn't love to do, but I'm gonna use my skill and put myself in that space, and you know, get a check. Yeah. I guess to feed my family.
You know, one thing that I was talking to you, we'll end with this. We were talking the other day at lunch, and you were mentioning that Chattanooga, just part of Chattanooga's history is that it's a hub.
Oh yeah,
and
I guess
yeah. And part of being a hub is that like we're centered around all these other places, and we almost become like a natural exporter of things. And I've taken that the language that you gave me for Chattanooga and talked to some other musicians in the last couple of weeks about that. And I've found a lot of agreement in that. And they've been talking about like, man, what is the Chattanooga sound that we're exporting? In like 1 or 2 minutes, what do you think are maybe some of the ingredients of the Chattanooga sound? Or does Chattanooga even have a sound? Is that something that we need to figure out?
Well, you could look at Chattanooga different ways. Yeah, hub, a train stop, and it's transient. So I've always exported my skills. You know, I've had some home bases in Chattanooga where I can perform, which we're going to be doing a Christmas concert with me and the family band on December 5th.
Hey, we should come to that.
At Caden's Coffee. It's going to be fun. But, you know, because of the size of Chattanooga, there are talented people here. There's tons. But because of the size of the city, economically, it's like it doesn't sustain a lot of venues or a lot of, you know, places that will support entertainment. In my opinion, I think it's growing in that way. So we've always had to, my opinion, I've always had to export and go travel regionally and then come back home and travel. So you got a transient sound. So to me, if you know artists like Lon Eldridge, who's been a bluesy staple, that is a metaphorical person of a transient, incredible musician, very Americana, very blues.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I would say, I would say we're exporting the roots of America into different sectors.
Yeah.
And you've got also people coming in too. So that intermingles with folk, blues, a little bit Americana, and then gets sent back out.
That's cool.
So it's kind of a stew.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. We're going to end here in a second with one of your songs, Sweet Little Place. What's that song about? Yeah. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, so we took a journey. I had a job, I guess you could call it, another diversification of where I was sponsored to go down to Florida, to Orlando, to put together a studio and write songs and produce other artists, actually. And so we went down as a whole family. We moved. That was like a big effort. Like, you know, we were leaving behind our extended family here in Chattanooga, and it was an ordeal for the family to move. And so we were taking a big risk going on a journey together rather than just me going, you know, does that make sense? And so the song is about that journey as a family. Like, there's ups and downs. There are times of plenty, feast and famine. Often as you're, you know, doing a musical type thing or any kind of entertainment type career. And we were just kind of continuing the journey of letting God lead. And we know that he's going to provide in the midst of trying different things and going on a journey as a family. So, but our sweet little place of being home is just being together.
You're right.
No matter where we're at.
That's awesome. It's a catchy song. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time to come down here and have a conversation. I always enjoy getting together. Our conversations always end up being like a couple hours. So like, this is weird having to cut it short here. But yeah, hey, check out Josh's music. We're going to put links to all of his things in the description of this podcast. So go listen to his music, follow what he's doing, catch a live show. And if you're watching this for some reason outside of Chattanooga, Josh travels a bunch. So maybe he's coming to a town near you sometime. Check out his tour. But we're going to end with Sweet Little Place. Once again, smash all the buttons, hit all of them, and we will see you on the next episode.
Now, honey, we've got to find an answer to the problems we're facing. We've been stuck in a rut, and we got bills to pay. Ain't got no money, we got love, and we got a little family that the Lord has given us from up above. I got a sweet little place that I call home. Here in your arms is where I belong. Where the world outside is caving in, we'll be side by side. Say now, honey, I just gotta call. We should move down south to the Sunshine State, where the oranges grow. I got a job there, ooh, but it's not the hills of Tennessee. No, 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 I know. And we'll leave behind everything, but I know the Lord will lead us faithfully. I've got a sweet little place that I call home. Here in your arms is where I belong. When the world outside is caving in, we'll be side by side till the very end. I got my feet planted in these gospel boots, so let's work together now and dig deep roots. And when the rain's on, I'll be here with you in the sweet little place that I call home. Yeah, I call home. I call home. Yeah, I call home. I've got a sweet little place that